Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show, entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. How's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are having a good day. If you're not, stick with us. Got an amazing guest. Yes, a Celtic Rock legend. Yes, singer, songwriter extraordinaire. He's been in several very well-known bands, and he is in Barleyjuice, one of the founders of that incredible band. And they're actually going to be doing a tour that's going to take people to Europe and to England. We're going to talk about that. Kyf Brewer is here, coming to us just north of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We are in that time of the year now where everything Irish is going to be seen and celebrated. You guys know I'm Irish on my father's mother's side. They hail from Ireland and they settled in New York City on dad's side of the family. And you need not be Irish to enjoy all the great Irish artists we've had. If you have not seen some of the previous episodes of the Jim Masters Show series, we've had so many incredible Irish themed folks here, even Foster and Brooks, the legends from Ireland. We've had all of Celtic Thunder here and Celtic Woman and you name it. They've all come through the Jim Masters Show. Some of them I know because I've interviewed them over the years on PBS. So we've stayed friends. And when I told them about the Jim Masters Show series, they said, oh, I want to pop right on. So they've all come through and from all across the United States, Canada, Ireland, some folks coming in from Australia, and all kinds of different demographics. I mean, Sir James Galway has been here. Phil Coulter has been here, legendary music producer extraordinaire, and all of them. So we're so excited to have Kyf here, and we're going to talk about his incredible career, but also Barleyjuice, and we're going to talk about some cool things they're working on. They have a new album actually that's out, the Old Speakeasy. We're going to talk about that as well. And yeah, we're going to tell you how you can avail yourself the opportunity to get the album, find out about the tour that's happening in Europe in the fall, and some other cool projects and things that they're working on. How's everybody doing? Thanks for joining us. Again, this is your host, Jim Masters. If you guys want to comment while the show is on, you can definitely do that. We've got what we call the JMS Levity Hall chat room. Now, whenever you see me look over here, I'm not looking off at a teleprompter. I'm not reading any scripts. This is all ad-libbed. But I can see the chat area. I can see the chat section. And that's on the YouTube channel when the show is on. And we call it the JMS Levity Hall chat room. So if you want to chat, interact with one another and with us during the show, when the shows are on, that's an exclusive. When you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that's where we house the hundreds and hundreds of episodes in our series on Jim Masters TV on the YouTube channel, which is what you're watching right now. And so you can comment when you subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It's really easy. Just click subscribe. That's it. And you get to comment, be a part of the JMS Levity chat room. Don't forget to also give all the episodes you enjoy a like, drop a comment in the comment section, and spread the word. Share these episode links on your social media. Just want to take a moment to thank those of you who are doing that. Many of you have been taking the links where it says there's a share button under the episodes on our YouTube channel, and you've been clicking share, and you've been sharing it on your social media, spreading the word about our entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. And we thank each and every one of you who have been doing that. To celebrate what we're doing here and what we've created with our hundreds of episodes of incredible guests from all different backgrounds and walks of life. So busy day for me as always. You guys know working in television and radio, it never is not a busy day, but love what I do and hope you guys are, again, doing well today. Kyf, again, joining us from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I know we have Pennsylvania viewers, Allentown, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, all across the Keystone State. Kyf is fantastic. You know, his music is really, really something else. He's nationally known, of course, and internationally known for being in Barleyjuice, the Celtic rock band from the Philadelphia area. He's the founder. He's been on the rock scene for, it's hard to believe. It goes by really in a New York minute gang, but 4 decades, fronting the bands, the Ravens and Company of Wolves, as well as recording 4 solo albums himself. And his original Barleyjuice songs, such as Weekend Irish, What's Up Yours, Get Your Irish On, Celtic Girl, and others, have been featured in movies, television shows, radio programs, and lots more. His latest release, The Old Speakeasy, features several former band members as special guests and was are scheduled for release like a lot of things were, when the pandemic hit, things kind of just went haywire. So it was scheduled to be released in 2020. And then boom, right? All you have to do is say boom now, or BC. It used to be that BC was before Christ. Now it's before COVID. And so they were going to do it in 2020 before COVID held them back from touring with it. The Old Speakeasy marks Baileyjuice's eighth studio album, produced and recorded by Kyf Brewer and mixed and mastered by Cliff Hillis. Long-awaited fans, and they're very, very excited about it, all the fans around the world. It was Keef's intention to recruit as many former members of Barleyjuice as possible for guest appearances. As fate would have it, current members actually changed as the tracks are being recorded. We're going to talk about how all of that, has happened and what it's all about. But if you've never heard the band, they're really, really good, and they make you feel good. And I mean, the rhythms, and you're just going to really enjoy it. And when they're out on tour, make sure you get tickets and you go see them, because you're going to feel good. If you're having a rotten day, go see Barleyjuice, not Beetlejuice. That would be in Liverpool. Barleyjuice brings a unique style of Celtic rock that has the audience literally on their feet. So much music that has an Irish sort of Celtic component is music that makes you really feel and gets you up off your feet, and that's part of the culture. Their style and the rhythm is always a crowd pleaser, and they're fast-paced and energetic, and they never disappoint. And again, you're going to feel real good when you see them in concert. But of course, you want to get the music too and add it to your collection. Look at this shot we dug up. It's like a session in a way. I don't know if you've ever been to one of the Irish sessions. They are really, really cool. There is the band. And again, here is a cool shot of Kyf. As I mentioned, he was also in other bands as well, like, of course, the Ravens. Look at that shot. That shot goes back. And yeah, and a lot more. He's absolutely, he's a master of his craft, and he seems to be able to rally people around good music and share it with all of us. We're the lucky ones, gang, right? Here is the album. We want to show you the album. It's The Old Speakeasy from Barleyjuice, and you can get it. Of course, Spotify and all the usual places for all of their music, not just this album. But there is the website for the company, for their label, for them. And you can check that out as well. We'll tell you more, how you can get all of it. I just want to show you the back, too. You can see some of the songs that are on the back as well. It's chock full. I got a chance to actually hear a preview myself that was sent to us by our good friend Anita, which we really appreciate. We love Anita. And it's really a fantastic, fantastic album, gang. You're going to want to get it and add it to your collection. And there's the gang on stage with Kyf and the rest of Barleyjuice. Again, they're based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They travel all across the country and around the world. And Kyf has been doing this again for a long time and absolutely loving it. We're going to talk about it all and some other cool things as we welcome him to the show. Gang, again, if you'd like to comment, just comment in the JMS Celebrity chat room there, or you can drop a comment on our YouTube channel under the episode, and that would be absolutely awesome. We'd really, really appreciate that. All right, coming from Bucks County, our great friend Kyf Brewer joining us here on the Jim Masters Show. Kyf, welcome to the show. It's awesome to have you here.
Hey, Jim, thanks. It's nice to be here, especially from my house.
From the house, from the home studio, right? It's a whole new, you and I were talking before we went live on air here. It's different. It's all changed, right? On so many different levels. Do you prefer the out of the house opportunity?
As I said to you, like, I miss New York. I miss going places. like to visit you for this interview. Um, but it's also so much more convenient in so many ways. You can do a couple different of these things in different cities per day. So
Yes, right.
advantage to everything.
Exactly right. So you're in Bucks County,
Yeah.
and that's just north of Philadelphia for folks that are watching from other places. And did you get any snow?
We got
That's about it, huh?
yesterday was like a big exciting. Everybody ran to the window. I was like, yeah. And then an hour later it was gone.
That's it, huh? So how long have you been in that area there?
I've been living here for almost 30 years.
It's been about 30 years now,
Moved
huh?
down from New York City. I was originally from Baltimore, moved to New York City for many years and in a band.
Yeah.
And then came here to get married and have kids.
Fantastic. Any of the kids also in music?
The kids are all in music. I got 3 girls. Paybacks are a bitch.
Yeah.
But they're wonderful. And they're all in their 20s now, and they've been in a couple bands and released a couple records. And the youngest one is now my drummer right now.
Wow.
You were talking about all the personnel changes in Barleyjuice. Well, they has been my drummer for the past 3 years now, and
Wow.
it's very bonding. It's nice.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
So when Barleyjuice was created, what was it that was your vision, and how'd you come up with the name?
I took my wife at the time to Scotland for a honeymoon, and I had shot a video there with Company of Wolves years before, fell in love with the bagpipes, just fell in love with the bagpipes, didn't know anything about them. So when we got home, we decided, let's find somebody to teach us bagpipes. And that wasn't very easy. But we
No.
did find somebody, and he said, there's only one contingent. You have to join my pipe band. And so we ended up learning the pipes and joining a pipe band and wasting every good holiday that they would have a parade, getting up at 6 a.m. on every, like 4th of July, Memorial Day, and New Year's Day, and St. Patrick's Day, and running downtown and piping in these parades. And from there, I met some of the guys of course, I met all the guys in the band, but I realized that some of them were also rock musicians like myself. So we sort of formed this band that just played St. Patrick's Day for the first couple of years until we realized there was a whole market out there and bands that were doing it year round. So that's when it got serious.
That's when it really got serious.
Yeah.
What is it you think about this music that really resonates with everybody? I mean, people, when they hear this music, they feel so good. They want to move. They want to get out of their chair. They want to, dance and just feel the rhythm and start rocking out. What is it about it, you think? And especially things Irish, people just really gravitate to things. I say, especially in America, it's Irish or it's Spanish. Those two are so big in terms of what people
Mhm.
gravitate to in music, Latin
Yeah.
as well as Irish. Yeah.
I think it's just, I mean, I can only speak personally. Like, it really spoke to me. I learned the Scottish, the Great Highland bagpipes, and learned some songs from Scotland. And then I got hip to like the Irish songs, and I found that they were so clever and such a lovely ethnicity and their traditions and everything, and also the way they like to laugh at themselves. And I
Yes.
really appreciate that coming from Baltimore, because Baltimore, and I can go into my Baltimore accent now. Baltimore is a place where they really like to make fun of themselves, hon. And if you've ever interviewed anybody from Baltimore, you
Yeah.
know this. So I kind of identified with that, and I thought I started writing songs in that genre, like just things that were traditional, but also that just sort of, we're very light and we're very human. And I think that's what people pick up on
Right.
here in America,
The authenticity, right? They like the
authenticity.
authenticity.
Yeah, and just the lifestyle. I think they love it. Of course, they're a contingent that like to drink. Uh, you know,
It's quite a
but
contingent.
yeah, but I mean, even the Irish wake. I mean, the way they celebrate a death is just so much nicer and lighter than a lot of other the ways that people, you know,
Yeah.
honor that. So I just I just really fell in love with the whole thing. And as you know, I guess being in New York for a while, there's a saying that there's more Irish in New England than there are in Ireland. Because
You know?
everybody's
Yeah.
like an ancestor or a descendant. I mean,
Yeah.
uh,
Between New York and Boston. Yeah.
between New York and Boston, and it filters down as far as here too. So
Yeah.
Irish pubs, man, you can play anywhere in the world and find an Irish pub.
So are you Irish on both sides of the family,
I have
Scottish,
no
or
Irish in me.
it's Scottish?
I have some Scottish, mostly English, mostly
The
British.
English. So
Yeah,
Brewer's an English name.
we don't talk about that with the Northern Irish too much, but anyway.
That could be a little bit of a
But I really like we were actually one of the festival planners started calling us Pan Celtic, which I liked that because
Pan Celtic. Yeah.
that gave me a lot more license to like just celebrate the British, celebrate the Welsh, celebrate Scottish and Irish, and celebrate that music.
So when you were, or a kid, who were you listening to? What were some of the bands or the artists that were sort of influential for you and inspiring you early on, whether they're
Well,
from here in America or from Britain or
I
anywhere?
think I was a perfect customer for the British invasion, all that stuff. Of course, starting with the Beatles, then the Stones, and the big guys, and the Kinks, and then the Who, and all the guys that came over here is very, very interested in that music. And I watched what it did to the girls,
Yeah.
and that sold me, man. I'm like, okay, I can play this music, and
1964 Shea Stadium. Yeah.
pretty. Like, I was pretty young when that happened, but I saw it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then taking that and bringing it into like the era of the Pogues, which really brought that sort of Irish punk thing here, and some of the bands, the big bands that imitated them and used them as a floor mat.
Yeah.
And it still exists, and I like where it's gone. I like what people have done with it, and it's still kind of, it's like left of center. It's not, hasn't taken over the mainstream yet. I kind of like that.
Exactly. So the instrument for you of choice when you were a kid, what was the very first instrument that you played?
Well, I really loved guitar, but I'm left-handed, and
Me too.
oh yeah. So
Yeah.
you may be going through this too. Like when I was 10, my parents got me a guitar, and I couldn't figure out anything, and they didn't know why. And
It was the right-handed kid, right?
they took it back and got me a clock radio, and I was very happy with that. So but anyway, I started.
It's not
playing
easy to find left-handed guitars in
It's
shops.
not, and you got to
very limited.
what you get sometimes,
Yeah, right.
But I started learning piano and chordic stuff, and then from there, the rock instrument that I chose was drums. So the first couple bands I was in, I was the drummer, but writing on piano, and from there, now I play guitar. I tell people I play guitar like Elvis.
Mm.
I mean, I'm as good as Billy Idol and Elvis on guitar. I can play chords.
You do the chords, right?
But I sing and I write the songs, so that gives me some credit.
What do you like more? Do you like performing or do you love the songwriting?
I love both really equally, but I think one without the other would make it seem empty to me. I picture in my mind many times when I'm writing songs some venue that I've played and how they're going to receive this song, and that gives me inspiration to like finish the song sometimes. So like one doesn't really exist in my head without the other.
Right, exactly. So when you first started out, what kind of songs were you writing?
When I first started out,
Yeah.
before I discovered the Celtic thing, they're funny. I've listened to them in the past few years, had ideas of like going back and what can I salvage that I wrote when I was 16 and 17 years old. And they're just kind of, I mean, I guess some of them I really did, like, you know, swipe some stuff from the Stones and some for that British invasion, but there was all kinds of, you know, Burt Bacharach. There was all kinds of like chordic things that were going in my head. And, you know, they just sound like, you know, from anywhere from James Taylor to the Kinks. Like, it's just, I feel like I had a place, and I really believed in myself. And I think anybody that stays with it this long had to feel like that when they were that young. I can do this. So yeah, that was kind of like what it was like. It was different. It was rock, but it was different.
When did people start to realize how good you were? Like, what would you say was like a pivotal key moment, opportunity, door opening that really got things rolling for you, Kyf?
Maybe like last year.
Right. People say to me, I'm still waiting for that opportunity, Jim.
Yeah, no, waiting for that. My wife likes me a lot. I think, like, you know, early, like, you know, the end of high school, I think
we have evidence of that. See?
But you do. Oh yeah, yes, there you go.
There she is.
I love that.
There's the better half.
Yeah, man.
She's admiring you greatly there, actually.
She chimes in. That's Beth. She chimes in sometimes. She's usually working at the merch booth, but I get her to jump up with her.
Sometimes does she sing as well? For those who watch who don't know.
She can sing great.
Yeah.
She can sing better than anybody ever told her she could. She can really find things, which is cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, I think it started at the end of high school and going into, like, you know, when you start winning Battle of the Bands and you start doing stuff when you're really young, and you get your gigs downtown and people actually show up, and you know, you start getting popular in the local clubs. So I think, you know, fairly young. It took me a while to get a record. Like, in those days, you had to have a national record deal. That was where that era. And the Ravens got signed. God, I was in my late 20s. The Ravens got signed to this for one of our songs, to this motion picture, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and that was their big break. And that's when, you know, my name started getting out there. And
isn't that incredible? I mean, that's a classic movie, you know, it's iconic.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, you must have been like, oh my God, this is so cool.
We were on top of the world, man. I remember, you know, they shot us out to LA to record one single, in which we eventually got it, you know, it got us a record deal, and we got a whole album out of it. But that one single, we went out and got to see an early, you know, version of the movie in black and white at the Chinese Theater. And we just thought, we were like, this is it, man. You know, this is the vehicle.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah. If you get it, you know, involved in a movie or something like that, or scoring it or whatever it is, it lives in perpetuity, you know?
It does. It really has helped. Even now, when I write nothing like that anymore, but, you know, it's still, I'm the only KYF out there, so that helps too.
You know, we dug this up too. Look at this shot.
Oh yeah. That was just recently sent to me by my friend Lynn Stroud. Actually, her husband is Peter Stroud, who is Sheryl Crow's guitar player. But we were friends back in the 80s when the Ravens were starting to really happen. And I did a photo shoot where I went a little nuts. And we threw on a straitjacket, and I hadn't seen that shot in probably 30 some years. And she sent it to me, and I was like, where did you dig that up? She goes, you know what, man? You should have this now.
Yeah.
She mailed it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the toes are the hardest part. Can you throw the toes in there? That's the scary.
That's the part that scares How did you do that?
That scares people.
They're like hands. And would you like to replicate that now, or not quite?
For you? Yeah, let me see. Yeah.
There it is. There it comes. There you go. See, that is funny.
Anyway, that was some shock rock. We were all doing that, not Marilyn Manson shock rock, but we were
No.
doing things to get attention.
Yeah.
I have one solo album where I've got a toad in my mouth. And
Really?
Yeah. Jim's like, yeah.
Yeah. Little Ozzy Osbourne sort of way of thinking.
Oh, I didn't hurt him.
Yeah.
He lived out back.
The head stayed on.
Yeah.
So when the idea for Barleyjuice came, you wanted to come up with something maybe that stood out. Tell us about how it all formed. And like you say, there's been different people who've sort of come in and out of the group as well. Tell us about all that.
Well, like I said, it started as a pipe band. And then, we recruited a few guys in the pipe band that could play rock instruments. And the one guy, Keith Swanson, who we called him Swanee to keep from confusing the two of us.
Yeah.
But he was my partner for many years. We started the band together. I came up with the name, I think, from an old Irish traditional called Juice of the Barley, which is about
yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
And we really just played St. Patrick's Day gigs. We played pubs. We'd find a pub and we'd go in. But there was something special that was happening. We weren't just doing these traditional songs. We were rocking them up.
Yeah.
And we were throwing in all these, at one, just impromptu, sometimes like in the middle of a song, I'd go into like the SpongeBob SquarePants theme, which is,
yeah.
Stuff like that. So, and then we started throwing in some classic rock, I remember one gig we did in Connecticut, we just went into London Calling, and we were just having a laugh, and then people started coming down to the merch booth and going, "Which album is that on?" So then we recorded it for the next album. So we started mixing the rock influences, like you can hear it throughout our stuff. Like the first couple albums are really, really traditional.
Yeah.
And then after that, it starts getting a little bit more, classic rock and stuff influenced.
Exactly. It's a unique sound. I know that's interesting to say with, the Celtic rock influence, but it is a unique sound. It does stand out. And it really does get people, moving and wanting to be going with the music, which I think is so cool. We need more of that. And the album, tell us about the creation of the album, and congratulations on this one. This is, I think, is the 8th now.
Well, it's funny. In another interview, I started counting and I couldn't. It's it's kind of up in the air.
Like
it's either my 7th or 8th, because we released a live album and we released a couple collections. So, to define a studio album, it's either my 7th or 8th. So you really have to just look at that. That actually, what you have up there, and I know why you chose that, because that actually has the title of the album. But the front of the album is slightly different. If you want me to show you.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, it's it doesn't have I started getting really artsy, and I didn't put the title of the album on the cover, but it's just an old picture of a speakeasy and some gal that's really happy to be drinking booze of some sort, and some guy that looks really happy to be serving her. And then there's this thing over here that looks like a record, and we were like, okay, that's it. That's the cover. So we licensed that picture for it. And then you open it up, and then you got that picture that you
that is so cool, huh?
Yeah. It was just an idea. The Old Speakeasy is kind of it's a concept of this place that I think a lot of people would go, like your local pub. And of course, that was very traditional in the old country, to go to your public house. And that's where you learned all the town's information. And,
I've been to a couple in Manhattan, actually. And,
sure.
and they're usually where you're going down steps down below, like underneath, sort of.
Oh, a speakeasy.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the door is just a door. You wouldn't even know what's going
Yeah.
on in there. It's just a door, and it's a little bit of a certain kind of knock. The door opens, you go in, the door closes, and that's
Mhm.
it. You
Yeah.
vanish into it.
Yeah. I like the people that still try to recreate that nowadays. It's kind of cool. But anyway, it was kind of like a private place where you could go and you could be with your friends and
Yeah.
you could drink what you wanted to drink and you could block the world out and all the terrible news that was on the air, and what was going on in the world. And it was a respite, And so that was my idea with starting the album and ending the album with two songs called The Old Speakeasy. Were just these people saying, I'm going back, take me back to the old speakeasy where the pours are stiff and the girls bright and teasy. And, it's just, you're in your element. You're the king of
Yeah.
your castle, That's the idea.
A little Jackie Gleason there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm the king of the castle.
I'm the king of the
Bang,
castle,
boom.
Norton.
So touring, I know I mentioned 2020. That was the plan to sort of unveil and release and do things in 2020. And then the world just came to an abrupt halt for everybody. Tell us about that and what the initial plan was. And is there a tour involved with this? And here's that new cover. We just pulled it up there.
There you go. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started to create this album when my partner Swanee was still in the band, and we had all been together for 20 years, and he was starting to say, like, I'm just kind of getting tired of traveling around and I kind of want to do something else. And I had to respect that. I was very disappointed to see him go because he and I really were the decision makers. And that left it all on my shoulders. And boy, just like we used to joke around about Kenny Rogers passing away right before COVID. It's like he knew when to fold them. It's like kind of like Swanee knew that. Swanee bailed out in 2019, and sure enough, 2020 we were all frozen. But I think in another way, I kept working on the record, and in another way, it gave me time to have a lot more insight than most of the albums that we created during the winter months when we didn't tour that much. And within that, I thought, well, with Swanee leaving, and actually the fiddle player Alice had left too, and I thought, well, this could be the end of Barleyjuice, so maybe I'll invite all the former members, anybody that was ever in the band, to play on a track or do something here, and maybe this might be our swan song. So that's kind of where that whole concept came from, of having all the old and new people play on the record. Did you want to come in? Wait, the famous singer Beth did you want to go to the laundry room? He put a picture of you on this thing, so I think you're already famous.
There she is.
I know.
There she is.
I'm not coming over there.
Okay. She wanted to get to the laundry room.
Oh.
Anyway.
she had to go through there to get to the laundry room?
You made it. Yeah, we had the door closed. Anyway.
See, that's the behind the scenes stuff everybody really wants. They say, no, they want that stuff. They want to know what fabric softener she uses. That's the stuff they want to know.
We just switched from the big liquid detergent bottles to the little piece of paper, and you might want to know that too.
Yeah, they want to know if you use the bounce sheets, all that stuff.
Right.
Oh my God, I know.
Smell me next time I come through. Smell me.
Right, it smells like bounce. Then it's good to go. Tell us about the room that you're in as well. Like, you got a lot going on there, which is really
this
cool.
Room? Man, I just pick it. I live in a 150-year-old. Well, actually, it's more like a 200-year-old house in the 1800s, and every room is kind of interesting. And I record my drums in the living room, and my control room is upstairs. So, long story short, I just choose a room where my laptop is to do these interviews, and this happens to be the office. And there's a lot of stuff from my past. There's a Fast Times poster, and this was a recent couple years ago festival in Kerouac, and not a lot of work gets done here, but a lot of fun.
So you have, like you said, different things dispersed through
Oh,
the
Jim,
house.
here's another one you might like.
Oh, this is cool. Oh, look at
This
this.
This is that. Yeah, that's the I guess the Bowie era of Kyf.
Right, exactly.
And
Yeah.
this is the hair that's left from that. But
What
anyway,
would the Kyf of today say to that Kyf?
the Kyf of today would say, you know, have fun, man, because it's not going to be like that forever. That's what I would say. I always had fun, and I always played music, and it was always. I'm very, very grateful for my past.
The record industry, obviously, the music industry as a whole has changed greatly on so many different levels. Do you like it as it is now with the streaming and the downloads and all, or do you hanker for the old school ways that it used to operate?
Wow, that's a long answer I'm thinking of in my head. You know, everything's got its advantages and disadvantages. I mean, I think, like, you know, the whole poisonous thing that we had to get a record deal to be a good band, that was drilled into our heads when we were younger, and that caused me to write a lot of stuff that wasn't really coming from the heart, just trying to get on the radio and trying to get signed. But yet they had, you know, when you did get signed, of course, you had these great promotional companies behind, or departments behind you. So I miss that. I miss, you know, I love Anita, our friend Anita. She's a wonderful publicist, but, you know, we had to seek somebody like that out, because when you're signed to a big label, they just give you these people, and it's their job to get you on MTV in those days, and it's their job to get you on the radio and you know, all that stuff. So I missed that big money thing.
Yeah.
But also the reason that I left that, I had 3 major labels in my career, and after that, a couple indies. But the more indie I got, the more control I regained, which I'm sure you understand. You have a long career, you've done all kinds of stuff, and the more control you can regain, like the more you become you again. You know,
Right.
so my album cover, down to you know, how I wanted to mix things, and so that's wonderful. And my kids are doing that now. Like the records that they've made, they've had full control, and so I think that's lovely. And the streaming and all that stuff, that's great too. You know, it's just getting music out there. I said many, many years ago that in the future, music is going to be free. There's no way, after Napster, and there's no way that people are going to stop stealing music. I mean, we were doing it when we were kids. We were taping stuff, you know, off of.
Used to tape stuff off the radio, and yeah, I still have all those cassettes.
There you go. And I used to say, like, if you got to have a live show, like that's the only thing you're going to own, because the record company's going to take away your merch, your T-shirts, all that stuff, your recordings. But if you can still bring it live, that's what your worth is, really.
Exactly.
You know?
I was asking if you've been to Ireland and places like that, and with touring, and when looking ahead as far as with Barleyjuice, do you want to go, you know, from coast to coast and Europe and beyond? The group?
I would go anywhere. You know, I mean, mostly when my kids were little, it was a joke that between Swanee and me, wherever we got hired, that was where our families had vacations that year. We've had vacations anywhere from Anchorage, Alaska, to, you know, to Texas, to my kids have been a lot of places with Barleyjuice gigs. So, yeah, I would go anywhere in the world that wanted me, you know. And I think it's just a matter of people like you who promote people like me, and people like all you people who are watching this and going, hey man, it might be kind of fun to bring them out here. And that's what happens.
You're still
Better than
doing right. You're still doing any commercial work, things of that nature, like we talked about, television and movies and things of that nature, where the music has
with these songs.
you with or even with these songs, or even your own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I not so much the TV shows these days. I'm reading a lot of audiobooks, which is fun.
You're narrating.
Yeah, and there's
Oh,
another
cool.
fan base for that. It's like people
There
go.
is.
There's just this crossover thing where I've done a lot of David Baldacci books. I've done some. I'm trying to think of some of my favorites. Sandra Brown. I did a little bit of James Patterson. Like come and go. But it's funny because when you let people in on Facebook, you're a musician, you let people on Facebook, it's no time at all before you reach that limit of 5,000 people, and then you can get followers. And it's funny because just in the past few years, I've had people like that, are following me, and they're following me because of my narration, and they don't even know I was a musician. Or they find out, oh, that's the same guy. Whoa.
So he's multi-talented. Yeah, the narration thing is a whole other area. It's lucrative too, voiceover work, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Have you done voices as well? Do you do different voices?
I mean, I've done voices. I've done a lot of commercials that you heard growing up.
Really?
I sang a lot of commercials that you heard.
We've had a bunch of jingle singers and session musicians come through here. What would be some that and I love talking. I miss jingles. I loved all of that whole.
Yeah.
I think it was great for product familiarity, and also companies and TV stations, radio stations, networks. They all had the jingles and the slogans and the themes. And then, individual products, you'd be singing about cars and singing about, furniture and toothpaste and everything. It was kind of cool. It really was. And that's been sort of,
yeah.
But what were some that you were involved in that people might remember?
Oh, wow. Depending upon your age. Some of my biggest.
We have a cross section of ages here too. Yeah.
I'll start with the most recent, because the most recent I was the voice of Dodge for about 7 years. So whenever you heard "Grab Life by the Horns" and that kind of stuff, that was me. And it sort of it opened up, it umbrellaed out, because it was the Chrysler umbrella, and they had Jeep, and they had the minivans, the Chrysler minivans. So, and there was a different voice for the minivan, because I was talking basically to housewives and stuff like that, and family caretakers. And I was doing this, and we've got stow and go seating. But then when you're talking to the truck guys, you brought that in, and that was the 360 Hemi engine, so that was a lot. Everything that you heard Dodge I would say that up until I guess about 2011 was me for about 7 years.
Wow, that's a good
run.
Before
that, we sang a lot of stuff. I sang a lot of stuff like "I Want McLean as Real as Ivory." That was back in the 80s. And then I did "Nobody Doesn't Like Sarah Lee."
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of that stuff. So much that I can't remember it. But there was a group of jingle singers. And if you interviewed them, I probably knew them. Michael Bolton started as a jingle singer. Michael Bolton was
Josie Falbo. I don't know if you know Josie out of Chicago. That's one of the ones that she sang too, was the Sarah Lee.
The Sarah Lee.
You might have probably all been in the same,
Right. A lot of us did, over the years, everybody would, like I did "The Best Part of Waking Up," Folgers in Your Cup. And then, of course, I wasn't the first one to do that. So there's a million of those.
Isn't that cool?
It was a lot of fun. It was just, and I must say, nobody really listened to them, but
I did.
The point is, like, I still see commercials today, and I go like, what was that for? And those,
Today, I think even more so, and people have talked about that, that it's like, maybe because of storylines or whatever, they make it like a story or something, but it's you and they're faster and there's just much more going on. You're like, what was the product? I don't know what that was for. And I didn't get a feeling. I didn't get a feeling that's going to push me out the door to get it or order it online, whatever it is. Where before you had a lot of feeling in a lot of the
well, that's the
stuff.
thing. But with every one of them, there was focus groups that just
Oh,
went,
yes.
when they figured it out that there's a certain contingent of Americans that are going to buy this because this. I'll tell you, Jim, it's funny because uh, a fan of ours and a friend of ours got us on QVC years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That was our first Barleyjuice collection. It was a double CD, and it was created especially for our appearance on QVC. And I think we had 24 hours, and we performed twice or three times, and we got to sit there in the green room. It was quite an exploration into marketing that I never really cared about.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating because those hosts on QVC, which of course now there's home shopping and there's all these other, but those hosts, every time they touched the product, you'd see the numbers go up.
Just immediate. Yeah. The
You know,
immediate.
or if I shook hands with a host that somebody watched every day.
It's like
and
family.
So let me shake your hand. Yeah. All right, Jim. Yeah, your ratings.
Now we're going to go viral as a result.
My ratings went up.
Perfect. But it's true. So those studios there in Westchester, Pennsylvania, quite nice, huh?
Yeah.
QVC.
Yeah, and that's very close to us. So it was kind of cool. It was like leaving home to go camping for 24 hours.
They still have a host. They have several hosts there. David
they're still on.
Venable is still there. Tracy, she's been there since the 80s and she's still there. Can you imagine that retirement plan? Can you imagine that 401k? Not too shabby.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it's cool to, to explore some of the diversity of things that you've been involved in addition to, the rock bands themselves, because you do have to have tentacles that reach out into various different areas, right? To keep the rivers flowing.
You just kind of, you just kind of look for things to come along,
Exactly. I love this shot here. Tell us about this and the scribble and notes that are on the right.
You know what? Those were lyrics taken from some papers in my basement that I have.
And you look a little like Springsteen there.
Well, when my hair was like that and my hair was darker, I used to get that a lot, especially when I was on like especially when I was on the train, like the New Jersey Transit or something, going to New York with my guitar slung across my shoulder. And people do double takes a lot, and Bruce and I are a couple of years apart.
Yeah. Right.
Not really, only a couple.
Yeah.
But he's still out there doing it. So that's awesome.
You also have something else that we want to definitely mention, and that is the Europe situation, the Magical History Tour. Tell us about that, because that's rare and that's really cool and that's kind of exciting, huh?
This is something. If you're looking at that, the guy, the smooth-headed guy, that's Rob Fahey, who wrote "Raised on the Radio" for the Ravens and was my partner in the Ravens. And we've stayed together. We still do reunions once in a while. Well, we tried to do this right before COVID with the Ravens. The Ravens were going to take you. We called it Fast Times in the UK. And we had a bunch of people signed up. And then, of course, everything got canceled.
Everything, yeah.
And I had worked so hard on it. I was so just disappointed,
let down and
frustrated. And, of course, the people that signed up, some of them were like, hey, man, I get my money back and I can't. It was just such a hassle. And I felt so bad for the travel agency. But it took me 3 years to get up the, energy to say, I'm going to try this again, but I don't want to take a whole band because it was just too hard. So I explained to the Ravens guys guys, I just can't, I'm going to do this myself. It's just going to be a lot easier for me. And I'm sorry. And all the prices have gone up with travel and everything. And Rob got back to me and said, man, I really want to go. And I was like, well, if anybody in the band's going to go, he's the other songwriters. Like, yeah, let's do this as a pair. And so we created this thing where we're starting in London. We're going to go to a lot of rock haunts from my favorite era, the British invasion, the 60s. We're going to go to Eel Pie Island, where a lot of these guys used to play. The Stones, Rod Stewart, Pink Floyd, the Kinks, and they used to actually like roll their equipment across this bridge because there were no vehicles on Eel Pie Island. And so we're going there, and I'm really excited about that. And then we're going to go to Abbey Road, of course. We're going to do a couple other things in London, go to Charing Cross, and then we're going to take that beautiful train up to Liverpool. And Rob and I are going to play the Cavern.
Oh, you've got these. Yeah, let's.
I just happened to have.
Let's make that full screen so we can see that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
the Cavern Club. That last time I was there, I had to get one of these. But yeah, so we're going to do a little gig at the Cavern, and we're going to do a magical history tour of the Beatles haunts. Go to Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane and where they met. And you can actually, through the National Trust, you can actually go into John's childhood home, Paul's childhood home. So that's an option. And we're selling this trip. And unfortunately, the price went up, which I'm really disappointed about, but everything else in the country went up. So you take what you get, but we're going to promise you a nice day, a nice time. It's like October 6th through the 14th. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go to my Facebook page, or you can definitely go to that website that you had up earlier, RYF Records. Yeah, that one. And read about it. And please join us. We're about half sold right now.
Really? That's cool. That's awesome. And that's coming up in October. And that's going to be from London and Liverpool. That's going to be that's a rare thing. And to be doing it with you guys, it's going to be really something quite special and once in a lifetime. There it is, gang. If you want to learn about it, you can go to the website and everything else. With the album, for folks that are watching, because we've got a really interactive audience, they respond quickly. They're probably online, picking it up already, which we love. What is it about this particular album in terms of what's the takeaway? What can people expect with the Old Speakeasy?
The Old Speakeasy. Well, besides the idea that everybody is featured on it, like a lot of the stuff, I would say, has been sort of whittled down to what we know people will like. Like Don't Call Me a Pirate, for instance, is for all the Renaissance fairs we ever played, and all those people that dressed up like Johnny Depp.
Oh, right.
And so that was like sort of a little poke at that. And Join the British Army, of course, was a trad that we really rocked up. High on Life, Swanee wrote that before he left. And I think, and then we go traditional. Then we go to Maggie May, which was an old Liverpool song that the Beatles, messed around with on the Let It Be album. And I found an entire version of it. And it's an old sailor song. And then, I really think it's just a transitional. It's just the next phase of Barleyjuice. I said, our earliest albums were very, very trad.
Yeah.
And then we started writing our own stuff. And, this one is kind of just a little more artsy, but it's still got some of those originals that are written in the Celtic fashion that really define and sort of enhance what we do best.
How do you describe, really? to put it in your own words, that the Celtic rock sound, how do you define it from your experience being immersed in it?
I think that there's a couple ways to define it. If you're going to go, when I say trad, for other people that don't know, that's traditional music. If you're going to go the trad route, which a lot of Celtic rock bands do, it's basically taking old songs like we did in the first couple albums and rocking them up, putting instruments behind them, like the Pogues did. I don't think the Pogues ever had a bass player. Maybe they did. Maybe I'm lying here. But the point is that they came out and they were doing punk versions of these traditional songs, and it was just beautiful. It was gorgeous. And I think, people like Flog and Molly, who've been very successful at that. Same thing. You throw a mandolin in, you throw a bouzouki in, you throw a fiddle in, you throw some of these traditional instruments in, accordion, big, and it gives it a different realm. It gives it a different feel. Yeah. To me, to do that well, that's what Celtic rock is, and what I try to do is maintain with the lyrics some of the traditions of Ireland or Scotland, and so together it forms this music that could have been played a different way, could have been played much more pop, but it wasn't. We chose these instruments to make it sound this way. And
what was it like bringing the guys back to, some other members that used to be with the group coming back? That must have been cool, huh? Was it like old home week?
Cool. Well, actually, I gained a new fiddle player because Billy Dominic was one of the first fiddle players, and he came back and played. He's actually been around. He's played on a little snippet here and there on a lot of my stuff, but he's back in the live band for the moment, and he's. I've known that guy for 25 years now. Shelley Weiss sent something. She was a fiddle player that was very popular. She sent something in from the West Coast. Dave Woodworth, I've known since high school. I mean, some of these guys. Dennis Shockett actually wrote a song on the record, and he played bass with us early on. It was a lot of fun. The only thing that could have made it more fun was if we were all in the same room at the same time, doing this record in a studio. So
you were all remote. You were doing this remote, huh?
Not all of us. Some of them came here, like Dennis came here, Billy came here, and then some, phoned it in. But
that's the technology of today to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's technology, and you lose some of those experiences that you got in the control room, and waiting for something to happen or creating something right there with everyone. So that's what was lost, but it was still a lot of fun to communicate and get in touch with them and have them submit these things, performances or songs. It's really cool. I'm very proud of that. That whole concept,
that whole thing,
it came to fruition.
Right, exactly. What else do you see for the future of the group, and even what you're working on individually?
Well, I think. Thank you for bringing that up, because I think that Barleyjuice is more of a concept now. Like, I think that I don't want to say the best years of the band, but there are some energy. There was certain energies that change when certain band members leave or get replaced, and that you lose certain people. And like Barleyjuice now has become like this concept of all that stuff that I'm keeping alive myself, along with my own music. We've started to perform a couple of my solo tunes in there, and I just see that as being the future. I see that as being me being the catalyst that says, okay, you liked these songs, I'm bringing them to you. I have different players. It's kind of like the old days. This is how I'm going to age myself now. But in the old days, when Frank Zappa and the Mothers, there was a number of years there where when they would show up, you never knew who was with them and how many people were in the band.
Right, exactly.
But it was always the Mothers, and it was always Frank Zappa. And that's pretty much where it is right now. We're going to bring you quality musicians, and we're going to do the songs that you want to hear, and we're going to introduce you to some new stuff. And
Been doing this a long time. I can't believe I said 4 decades, but
it has been, yes.
it's hard to believe, huh? What you started when you were 4. What
Right.
what is it about it that keeps you connected and wanting to perform and write songs and connect with people? Music is a universal language. It's very healing, very connecting. What is it about this industry that still keeps you plugged in and wanting to perform and create for all of us?
Well, it's 2 things. Performing live, like when I go to see another band, I immediately fall into that. Oh, I'll try something. Wait, I have an idea. Wait, I could, a variation on this. And I mean, that's always going to be, my innovative mind starts clicking. And I like to perform in front of people. I like to do that, and I've been doing it since. I'm pretty much every performer that you interviewed will probably say the same thing. Like, oh, he was doing it in front of the camera when he was 4 years old. He was singing that. But I think, and the other concept is that I can do it. Like I hear things, and or if somebody starts playing something, I jump in, or somebody says, like I was just recording with one of the with the bass player from Company of Wolves, the band I was in the early 90s. We just recorded a song that he wrote, and I just knew where to go. It's just,
Right.
That's the instinct part that I don't have to think about. I was just born with that. Like you were born with what you do, like a carpenter is born with what they do. And people just do things well. And I think it's important, as long as you're alive, to just keep utilizing that gift,
Have you thought of teaching, mentoring others? I mean, you have your family involved in music, but has teaching been ever part of the mix?
My kids teach.
They do.
Yeah, my oldest and my youngest teach a number of different instruments, and I think they're a lot better at it. That I never learned how to read. I just heard it and could play it. There's a story where when I was 10, my mother got me piano lessons, and within a year, the piano teacher said, I don't think you should waste your money on this, because he's not reading, he's watching my fingers and he's imitating.
Yeah.
And that's a talent in itself. So I learned, like now, my kids teach their students, like however you do it, do it. But what was the original question, Jim? I think we're off the tracks there.
Well, it's kind of like do you have a desire to teach and mentor others, maybe?
No,
coming up.
I really don't. I have a desire to give advice, which is good or bad as you get older. But but no, I don't not to really sit down and say. I mean, I guess if I saw a kid that was promising, I would do it. If they asked me to, I would do it. But I can't teach them notation, so I would just have to teach them what I know.
What you know, yeah.
And who knows what? I don't think there's any money in that.
I think there would be quite a few kids that would love to know what you know.
Well, yes, but as far as like actually,
the patience
lesson,
doing it, and it's a whole other, because you've got your hands in so many different things too, which is amazing. Somebody that stops by every once in a while, just want to say a quick hello. Mr. George Burns is here.
Oh, George is here. George has one of my favorite quotes.
Really?
Which was, I can't die, I'm booked, or I can't book. What did he say? Oh yeah, I can't die, I'm booked.
Right.
The end of it is because he just worked right up to the end.
My aunt collected dolls, and I mentioned it on the show. She was a serious collector of thousands of dollars of dolls, had a room actually in her house in Connecticut in the Hartford area filled with them. And this got passed down to me. He's there with a cigar, his red pocket square, and he pops in every once in a while. He's thoroughly enjoyed the chat, and he says some levity, Jameis levity from him and Gracie. Kind of cool, huh? You got George saying hello.
Yeah.
Hey, George. Usually surprises people and like, what is the guy actually holding a George Burns?
Have you ever held him up to the camera, like when it comes on and it's just him instead of you? Like,
I've thought about that, but one of our Levity viewers, the Jim Master Show Levity Squad watching over the holiday time, she actually, Maureen in Arizona, sent me a little mini me.
wow, that's awesome.
A Mr. Levity.
Mr. Levity.
There he is.
I love it. You could put him up there in front of the camera sometimes.
And I was going to say, like when I'm right, if I lose my voice or I'm out of town or whatever, I think he's capable of filling in. What do you think? Him and George? I mean, you got quite a duo there.
Oh man, that would be interesting. Wait, what do I got around here? Oh, I can. Oh yeah, when you were giving me the intro, I was thinking, okay, I got to take.
Oh, look at that!
Up there.
Look.
Hey, what's going on? It's a paper holder that I have on my desk.
What character is that? Is that a particular?
I don't know. I bought it in a street fair in New York years ago, and he has a.
You're talking about Willis?
I'm surprised he hasn't like rotted away by now.
That's funny. Yeah, whenever I bring the George out, whenever everybody goes looking around their house, like, hey, I've got this Charlie's Angels doll or Farrah Fawcett, or I've got this, or I've got the Matchbox cars, or all these kinds of things. It's, what I say, we're just really kids wearing adult clothing. That's about it. We're just big kids, adult clothing. Here is the website, folks. Keith, this was awesome. And again, folks, go to Spotify, go everywhere you can get all the music, and the Old Speakeasy is the album. Congratulations on everything, Keith. And we're going to keep the porch light on for you. You are absolutely welcome back anytime. Spread the word about the Jim Master Show series if you know other folks.
Absolutely.
Pop on. Love to have, takes a village, as we all know. And congratulations on everything. Really cool. You've stuck with it and you love it. And that's what counts. And people know that. And you're, bringing people together that also enjoy it and create a great feeling when people are listening to the music. And I think that's awesome to be doing that and still doing it and inspiring people along the way, even though you're not necessarily teaching per se, you sort of are through the art form, which I think is cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you very much.
I like that. I like that.
Congratulations to you for keeping it going as long as we are all to be commended for staying in there, these days.
Hanging in and hanging on and doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Keith, thanks for stopping by the Jim Masters Show. This was truly fantastic and an honor to have you here. And again, I applaud you on all of the successes and continued blessing and joy in your life for you and your family. And again, I hope the show met whatever expectations you had and you enjoy the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you.
All right. Thanks, man. It's been fun. Appreciate it.
All right. You take care and you be well, okay?
All right, buddy. You too.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Kyf Brewer joining us here from Barleyjuice and lots more. You got a chance to learn a little bit more about him beyond just Barleyjuice, which is what we love to do here. We don't even call these interviews. We call these conversations because, we go in deep a little bit. We learn a little bit more about the individual. You guys comment during the show as well and ask all kinds of questions. And sometimes you even bring in some of your own memories, which I think is really, really cool. And I bet you didn't know that he does all that narration and has voiced and sung on lots of those iconic commercials as well, in addition to being an incredible singer and songwriter, creator of Barleyjuice and being a part of all those other bands as well. It was really cool going back in time. And so now we know the story of the toes. That's right. We got a leg up on the situation. Some really cool shots here. Let me show you this again too, because this is really something special that he was talking about. This is the fantastic London to Liverpool Magical History Tour, Keith and Rob's, and it's coming up in October. Now, if you're watching this 5 years from now, this will have already been old news, but for those watching, right now, this is available. You can inquire within. And again, he's an icon in the industry. He's been doing this a long time. He absolutely loves it. Has a good time. And if you've not been to any of their concerts, any of their performances, when they come to your town, when you hear about them, go see them because you're going to really, really have a good time. They are having a good time. So that just, it just spreads from there. Barleyjuice is the group. And of course, here is once again the latest album. This is the cover to look for, gang. It says Barleyjuice on it. And we talked about some of the fantastic songs. He delved in a little bit about some explanations about the songs themselves. And, prolific songwriter and beloved in the industry. Really cool to have him here on the show, coming to us direct from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And that was really, really awesome. Kyf Brewer in the house here on the Jim Masters Show series. If you enjoy this episode, gang, do give us a thumbs up. There's a thumbs up icon on the actual YouTube channel. It's maybe not as fancy, as classy as this one with all the gold sprinkle and all that, but it is a thumbs up. And make sure you click the thumbs up. That's important. Drop a comment also on the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and don't forget to subscribe. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes with guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, food, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, literally from all around the world who have stopped by the Jim Masters Show series. And again, it's kind of like an old school talk show series. Dick Cavett, Carson, with a modern twist and a modern vibe. We thank Kyf for stopping by on the show. It was really awesome to learn more about his music, about him, the man behind the music. It gives you an appreciation for the artists, right? When you hear their story from them directly in our conversations here on the show. So good stuff. And it was great having you with us too. If this is your first time, thanks for stopping by JMS, the Jim Masters Show series. Let us know what you enjoy about our series. Drop a comment on the YouTube channel underneath this episode and all the ones you enjoy. You can find me on all the social media, Jim Masters TV on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And lots of incredible guests that are coming up. Just take a look at the YouTube channel and you can see other folks that are coming up. We have so many people that are in store for you. And thanks for all the messages and the cards and the notes and the emails about how much you're enjoying what we're doing here. And if you are a fan of the Irish artists, there are lots of them that have been through here. And again, you can peruse them all on our YouTube channel. But again, we do much more than just that. So we love having you all here. Around here, we don't say goodbye. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, sláinte, hasta la vista. We say buenas noches. We say take care, be well, moi loop, shalom, sayonara, avida zain. And one other thing we do say around here at JMS, we say don't forget to relax. Don't forget to take time for yourself, relax, enjoy some good music, put on some Barleyjuice and enjoy. And take care of one another, love one another. Crazy world out there. Stop by the Jim Masters Show every once in a while. We'll always have a good time. Great conversations, great entertainment, all kinds of surprises for you right here on the Jim Masters Show series. Thanks for all the great comments, all the interactivity. We appreciate all of you as well. Spread the word about our show. And I'll be right here, like Richard Marx sang in the 80s. I'll be right here waiting for you here in the host chair at JMS Lovety Hall. We'll see you again on the next one. Thanks for being with us, Jim Masters. Thank you for your time this time. Till next time, be well, take care, and cheers.